Hello, everybody. Hebrew77 here, and welcome to Theory. Um, as you can see, judging by the title, we will be talking about a basic theory which implies, was Y2K responsible for the Mandela effect? Now, I know this seems like an awfully big stretch to a lot of Mandela affected people out there, even to myself. And let me just start off by saying that I don't necessarily believe in this theory, but it is a theory that I came up with that, I thought, why not? Just throw it out there, put it on the table. Everything else is. I mean, we don't know anything. We don't know what caused the Mandela effect. There's many theories out there, but we're going to get into that. I mean, there's the uh, 2012 theory, which a lot of people didn't realize that the Mayans didn't actually come out and say, well, we're all going to be dead in 2012. That's just when the Mayan calendar ended. And there's a theory out there, though, that we all died back in 2012. Now, I don't believe that myself. And here's the reasons why. Number one, if we all died in 2012, why are we still in flesh bodies? Number two, why are babies still being born? Why, why are people still dying around us, like our loved ones and whatnot? They still die. So, if everybody died, then those people should have died also, and they should never die. But people are still dying. So that, to me, in my opinion, throws that right out the window. But today, and then of course there's CERN. They opened up a black hole. They didn't know what they were doing. One dimension crossed over into another dimension. Or there's another theory that involves CERN, where they have all these like symbolisms of different gods, and maybe even a little bit of satanic type stuff going on there, demonic stuff. I don't know. And they're saying that they messed with those forces when they had these supercomputers, the colliders, and when they dealt with that these evil forces behind there opened up a dimension or gateway, and CERN had no idea what the hell they were doing, so they had to shut everything down. There's that theory. And then, of course, there's the God theory. There's the theory, which I truly believe in, is that all of these things are happening by the hands of humans, yes, but through God. In other words, God is allowing it to happen. Of course, any changes in reality is because the Father allows it to happen. But we're not going to get into all that right now. That is a discussion for another time. Right now, my working theory is that Y2K bug, in fact, caused the Mandela effect. And you're all sitting here wondering, well, how could the Y2K bug cause the Mandela effect? That happened back in '99, turning over to 2000, and that has absolutely nothing to do with CERN or any of these other theories we're throwing out there. And besides, the Mandela effect didn't take place until 2012. Between 2012 and 2016 is when a lot of people are coming out saying we've experienced the Mandela effect. But we don't know that for sure. In fact, I've gotten reports from other people saying that they claim that they've experienced the Mandela effect as far back as the 70s. So if you look at it that way, that kind of throws the whole Y2K theory out the window. That throws all those other theories out the window as well. With that being said, we have to work. If I'm gonna go with the theory, if we're gonna go down this rabbit hole with the theory that Y2K um, somehow caused the Mandela effect, we also have to go under the assumption that we live in a simulated reality, because from living in a simulated reality, those supercomputers that were around even back then could have very well been the government not working on, black holes or CERN, because CERN was involved by the late 90s, and CERN was doing experiments and stuff like that. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, and we will get to this, we will get to the computer, the evidence, all that stuff. Um, but anyway, these supercomputers might have been actually used to create simulated realities, because we already had sort of um, simulated stuff going on with video games, and I think virtual reality was a thing. It wasn't as perfected as it is today, but it was getting there. It was becoming a thing. So we will look into that and a whole lot more. Now I'll turn it over to some reports and some certain documentary footage. Let's go ahead and get to that. By the way, how do you like my new background? I'm thinking about maybe using this as a background in all my videos. Anyway, let's take a look at some of these documentations in which where CERN started and where the Y2K threat was getting into under heavy scrutiny, or not under scrutiny, but under heavy whatever. Let's take a look. I've looked up some basic information on Y2K here, and I don't ever remember it being known as the Y2K problem or the software problem. But I'll sum it up for you without you guys having to read this whole thing, because I know it's hard to read it from my screen because it's blurry, and I do tend to shift the camera around. So the year 2000 problem was the subject of the early book Computers in Crisis by Jerome and Marilyn Murray. Under the title The Year 2000, Computing Crisis in 1996. The first recorded mention of the year 2000 problem, an unsent news group, occurred on 18th of January 1985. Poster Spencer Boyles. Now, I'll go on and just read this here at the bottom to save some time. The Y2K problem is the electronic equivalent of EI Nino, and I know I screwed that up, and there will be nasty surprises around the globe. Now, here's the thing, and it doesn't say this in the article, but at the time, and even at that time, all of our major stuff was hooked up to computers. Like, everything was run on computers. Electricity, the water and sewage treatment plant, your flow of water was all had to do with computers regulated the timing and I don't know the technical aspects of it, but all that stuff. Plus, the most important thing you have to remember is nuclear bombs, nuclear missiles. All of these things are wired up to these supercomputers. And one bad bug, and boom, boom, bye-bye time. You know what I mean? So apparently all of your scientists and technicians and all of those technical dudes and ladies went to work in redesigning these supercomputers and going in and I don't know anything about scientific jargon, so I won't try to pretend like I do. But I will say, basically, they went in and tried to fix the issue before we even had an issue. Now, when 99 turned over to 2000, it seemed as though everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Like nothing happened. Like there was nothing. Nothing went on. There was no big explosions. The computers, the world's computers, didn't get all effed up. Or so we think. Now here's how my theory works. If we in fact are living in a simulated reality now, and this is what I was explaining a while ago, then that would make sense because maybe, just maybe, and here's the possibility, this Y2K bug actually did malfunction all the world's computers. And what if these supercomputers were holding an entire world simulation? I got a long fingernail there. It was an accident years ago. I actually need to trim that. It cut off the tip of my finger, and so now that grows extra long. But anyway, thought I'd have to explain that. The theory is this, that if we are in fact living in a simulated reality, then that would make sense. That means that Y2K did happen, and the big wigs in charge had to go through and fix everything quickly to make it look like nothing happened. And believe me, the government can do these tricks quite easily. I got to tell you. But anyway, that's basically the whole theory right there. But it doesn't end there. I have done some research, and apparently CERN was around at this time as well. Of course, the origins of CERN can be found all the way back to December 9th, 1949, after the end of the Second World War. As you can see, there's a whole long and boring history of it, but I'll leave that to you to decide. So, when was the collider first a thing, you might ask yourself? Well, let me show you. An overview on Wikipedia. The Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is the world's largest and highest energy particle collider and the largest machine in the world. It was built by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, between 1998 and 2008. And collaboration with over 10,000 scientists and hundreds of universities and laboratories, as well as more than 100 countries. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the circumferences and all that stuff, but with that being said, note between 1998 and 2008. Now, between that time, we did have supercomputers, and supercomputers could have very well been a big part of these colliders and getting them built and getting them attached. And, well, I don't know all the technical mumble jumble, but the collider was not turned on for another 3 years in 2010. 2 years, I'm sorry. Whatever. Listen, here's the point. First colliders were achieved in 2010 at an energy of 3.5 TeV per beam about 4 times the previous world record. Wow. Think about that. At the end of 2018, it entered a 2-year shutdown period for further updates. Okay, so we got that. Now, we were all aware of this shutdown back in 2018, and it seemed like there for a slight moment that the shutdown in 2018 coincided with the slowdown of known Mandela effects. However, that turned out to not be the case. As we all know, there was actually a steady incline of Mandela effects being reported between 2017 and 2018, and then a brief period of a month or two went by without very good Mandela effects, but then picked up after that 2 months time between 2018 and 2019. So in my opinion, what this just means is that we can rule out CERN as a possible cause. Not completely, but I'm saying there's some evidence to back up that these Mandela effects between 2018 were on a steady rise between 2018 and 2019. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I really couldn't find any real examples, but I did find an old post on Reddit, and I'm going to read it to you just briefly. The theory goes like this. First, the older generation lives through a reality that is created by their intimate shared perspective, consciousness. For an example, based on witnessed live events and published media, the bulk of the world believes that Jimmy Carter is president, so in reality, Jimmy Carter is president, and everything is cool. Also, the Bernstein Bears book come out. Kids from this older generation read them, and everyone knows it's spelled Berenstein. But then the older generation gets older, the population of the world is replaced by younger awareness who have not had the direct influence of those live events in media broadcast. In fact, in many cases, these younger minds have not even heard of many of the items that the older generation takes as fact. Okay. Now, so let's break it down real quick. Did Y2K cause the Mandela effect? I don't really think so, but it is a theory, and I think it's a theory that we should investigate further into and talk about and discuss, as with all the other theories that are thrown on the table. Now, the timeline in which the Y2K happened in 1999 turning over to 2000 doesn't really coincide with the timeline that people are discovering the Mandela effect. But here's the thing. The timeline that people are discovering the Mandela effect is about the time when the internet kind of spikes up and rises. And, you have internet, you have multimedias, there's more awareness. So was the Mandela effect going on years before, and there really wasn't a name for it, and people couldn't figure out what was going on? Maybe people thought they were just going crazy, or maybe people thought their memories were just, I hate to say this, but misremembering things. But either way, the Mandela effect could have been going on for years without a heightened awareness of its existence before people started making videos. And this would coincide with the fact that it seems like a lot of your heavier YouTubers that started making videos about the Mandela effect started as early as back in 2012 or 2015. So anyway, I want us all to just let's put this on the table. Let's look at it, examine it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I know this has been a longer video than what my most videos are, but I thought it would be worth looking into and just going over the negatives and positives. Um, Plus, you have to realize any simulation that can be done with a computer or the use of a computer, computers were around since the 1960s, late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there. I'm not quite sure when the first supercomputer was. I guess I could go look it up, but I'm done with this video anyway. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you hated it. I mean, obviously. But leave comments as to whether you think we should throw this whole Y2K theory into the basket. Remember, anything that is done with a computer could have been done with a computer. If there's a theory out there that we all died in 2012, then what's the further stretch that everything didn't go kablooey in the year 2000, but it was all set up to look like a simulation, much like the holodeck of the Enterprise. Anyway, until next time, this has been Hero77. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a like and subscribe, and everyone have a blessed day. Good night, everybody.